In the current age, it's safe to say that most old-school first-person shooter enthusiasts are well aware of the revolutionary World War II game, id Software's Wolfenstein 3D, or Wolf 3D for short. As a once 10-year-old kid who became increasingly fascinated with classic shooters, I desperately wanted to get my hands on Wolf 3D, particularly because it looked like Doom, another id Software title I eagerly desired to play. Fast forward 10 years later when I finally get the chance to try out the game for myself, and it's alright. Wolf 3D puts players into the boots of captured American spy BJ Blazkowicz after he just killed a Nazi guard and stole their weapons. It's up to the player to fight their way out of Castle Wolfenstein and put an end to the devious schemes of Adolf Hitler himself. At first, Wolf 3D appears to be a watered-down predecessor to Doom, but these games are entirely different. Whereas Doom is a run-and-gun shooter, Wolf 3D prioritizes slower tactics. The enemies BJ encounters are lethal to the point where a player at full health can be effortlessly killed by even the weakest Nazi in around 3 to 4 good shots. Most Nazis have a near instant reaction time that lasts about a half second before they open fire. The moment an enemy stops and looks at BJ, that's the cue to either get out of the way or try to beat him to the punch. These do or die fights show us that Wolf 3D was the original cover shooter, and as such, decisions must be quickly made on the fly. The good news is that the machine gun and chain gun provide great compensation for the player. The machine gun makes quick work of weak single targets, and the chain gun's ability to spray a satisfying barrage of bullets is intended for groups of enemies and heavy-duty foes. The chain gun would be a straight upgrade from the machine gun were it not for the fact that every gun uses the same ammo type that's capped at 99 bullets, so the fast fire rate can be counterintuitive if abused. I found that it's best to stick with the machine gun and its slower fire rate until a situation gets dire, as levels occasionally get stingy with ammo. You might as well be dead if the knife becomes the last resort, so self-preservation is vital for surviving the onslaught of Nazis. Mastering this volatile dynamic between the machine gun and chain gun makes direct encounters easier, but the enemy placement often maintains the high stakes. This game might as well be called Frankenstein 3D, because levels are littered with enemies waiting to rush BJ from easy to miss blind spots. Wolf 3D teaches early on that if a situation looks too easy, approach it with caution. Ambushes range anywhere from a single attacker to a deadly group of hidden Nazis. These scenarios can be snuffed with constant scanning of potential hiding spots and in some cases, firing a shot to lure out enemies. Audio also plays a key role in predicting unseen attackers. Nazis always shout when alerted to BJ's presence, so when possible, I always counted how many voices I heard versus how many enemies I killed. And if the number of those killed was lower, I kept my guard up. This plan isn't foolproof, since gunfire doesn't always alert enemies, but it saved my life on several occasions. Another good habit is listening for mysterious door sounds that trigger without the player's influence. Know this, if it wasn't the player's doing, somebody's looking for Blazkowicz. Wolf 3D has an impressive combat formula despite the low enemy variety and weapon count. Again, I can't stress enough how easy it is to die in this game, and when all of these tactics combine, Wolf 3D shows its true colors as less of a guts and glory Nazi killing romp and more of a you versus them survival game. And yet it all crumbles under a couple of large issues. From start to finish, Wolf 3D is hellishly maze-like, and this gets tedious fast. Levels often exclusively follow one color scheme, which makes levels boring to look at and frustratingly difficult to navigate. It doesn't help that levels are usually massive in size, making traversal both tedious and all the more confusing. This issue was so bad that had it not been for the EC Wolf source port providing an auto map that records where BJ has been, I would have never finished this game. Even without the confusion, it was sometimes hard for me to stay engaged since levels generally looked and felt like the last. What ends up happening with Wolf 3D is that levels putting more focus into combat end up being the less common but better ones of the experience, since the intense battle scenarios usually had unique layouts, whereas stages emphasizing key hunting and labyrinths just drag things out with little substance. The amazing combat counterbalanced by generally mediocre levels is what kept the experience at just alright instead of great or even fantastic. It's tragic because when it wants to, this game gets really good. I have an insurmountable respect for the innovation Wolf 3D brought to the table, because it solidified the beloved FPS genre that would eventually loop around and reinvent the franchise itself with the Reboot series, which, let's be honest, took the best elements of this game and made it several times better. But with the tedious level design problems in mind, I'd only recommend Wolfenstein 3D if you're okay with using a source port. Otherwise, save yourself the headache. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you had a good time, clicking that like button helps other people on YouTube see me, and I'd be really grateful if you helped a brother out. If If you're interested in more content from me, there's a nice and friendly subscribe button down below, and it touched my heart if you stuck around for some more. Be sure to follow me on Twitter if you like updates and questionable jokes, and I've got a Discord server that I'm always checking, so it's really easy to get in contact with me over there. That's it from me. I'm RoberOnocle, and I'll see you guys next time. You all take care.